Hello, everyone. This is Bruce, and welcome to Congress Weekly. This episode will cover mostly the report entitled Examining the U.S. Capitol Attack. Some of you might be saying, what is that? Well, I agree with you. There has been so little press coverage of it. It was a review of the security, planning, and response failures that occurred at our nation's capital on January 6th, put together by a select group of those in Congress. I will cover highlights of the report and include some of my comments. The following is straight from the report. On January 6, 2021, the world witnessed a violent and unprecedented attack on the U.S. Capitol, the Vice President, members of Congress, and the democratic process. Rioters, attempting to disrupt the joint session of Congress, broke into the Capitol building, vandalized and stole property, and ransacked offices. They attacked members of law enforcement and threatened the safety and lives of our nation's elected leaders. Tragically, 7 individuals, including 3 law enforcement officers, ultimately lost their lives. My editorial comment, you can definitely tell that was written by Congress. The committee that conducted this investigation uncovered a number of intelligence and security failures leading up to and on January 6th that allowed for the breach of the Capitol. These breakdowns ranged from federal intelligence agencies failing to warn of a potential for violence, to a lack of planning and preparation by United States Capitol Police and law enforcement leadership. To start, the federal intelligence community, led by the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, did not issue a threat assessment warning of potential violence targeting the Capitol on January 6th. Despite online calls for violence at the Capitol, neither the FBI nor the Department of Homeland Security issued a threat assessment or intelligence bulletin warning law enforcement entities in the regional capital of the potential for violence. Capitol Police's intelligence components failed to convey the full scope of threat information they possessed. As an example, on January 5th, an employee in a separate Capitol Police intelligence-related component received information from the FBI's Norfolk Field Office regarding online discussions of violence directed at Congress, noting protesters were coming to Congress, and I quote, prepared for war, end quote. This report, similar to other information received by the Capitol Police Intelligence and Interagency Coordination Division, was never distributed to the proper leadership before January 6th. Capitol Police were not adequately prepared to prevent or respond to the January 6th security threats, which contributed to the breach of the Capitol. They didn't even bother to prepare an operational plan or a staffing plan for the joint sessions. The Capitol Police leadership also failed to provide frontline officers with effective protective equipment or training. This gets even more mind-boggling. Many of the frontline officers had not received training in basic civil disturbance tactics since their initial recruit officer training. While some Civil Defense Unit officers were issued special protective equipment, the platoons were not authorized to wear the equipment at the beginning of their shifts. Instead, Capitol Police staged equipment on buses near the Capitol. In at least one instance, when the platoon attempted to receive the equipment, the bus was locked, leaving the platoon without access to this critical equipment. I have to pause for a moment to think about all of this. Leadership ignored the social media and FBI information to expect trouble. They didn't think it could get out of hand, and when it did, they had very little in way of protecting themselves. I have to ask myself, was all this intentional? If so, who made those decisions? The intelligence failures, coupled with the Capitol Police Board members' failure to request National Guard assistance prior to January 6th, meant the National Guard was not activated, staged, and prepared to quickly respond to an attack on the Capitol. As the attack unfolded, the Defense Department required time to approve the request and gather, equip, and instruct its personnel on the mission, which resulted in additional delays. All of us know this. You just can't call up the National Guard within minutes, they'd be on site. Again, I have to ask myself, was this intentional? Here are some facts. 1. Neither the Department of Homeland Security or the FBI issued formal intelligence bulletins about the potential for violence at the Capitol on January 6th, which hindered law enforcement's preparation for the joint session of Congress. 2. Neither the FBI nor the Department of Homeland Security deemed online posts calling for violence at the Capitol as credible. 3. Capitol Police's command system broke down during the attack, leaving frontline officers without key information or instructions as events unfolded. 4. Capitol Police Board members in charge on January 6th didn't fully understand the requirements for requesting assistance from executive agencies and departments or declaring emergencies. 5. The Department of Defense confirmed with the Capitol Police on 2 separate occasions before January 6th that the Capitol Police was not requesting assistance from the National Guard. 6. According to the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice was designated as the lead federal agency in charge of security, preparations, and response on January 6th, but the Department of Justice did not conduct interagency rehearsals or establish an integrated security plan. So far, in my opinion, this is a total embarrassment for the United States. I will conclude with the overall of the report on recommendations that the committee feels should be implemented. 1. Empower the Chief of the Capitol Police to request assistance from the National Guard in emergency situations. 2. Ensure the Capitol Police has sufficient personnel with appropriate training and equipment in the roles necessary to fulfill its mission. In my opinion, don't you think they should already have this? 3. This recommendation is a no-brainer as well. Address how commanders are to communicate priorities, strategies, tactics, and threat assessment to frontline officers prior to and during an incident. This last one, I am totally puzzled that it wasn't already in place. Develop protocols for communicating with members of Congress, staff, and other employees during emergencies. There are many more, but as you can tell, the recommendations are so basic, they truly make you wonder how something like what happened on January 6th didn't before already happen. Maybe it is buried in the report, but it certainly didn't stand out. First of all, what about the female who was shot by a Capitol policeman? Did she enter the Capitol illegally? Yes. Well, what actions was she taking that caused her to be picked out and shot? Why is there not an uproar questioning the action taken by the Capitol policeman? So many unanswered questions. To me, since this was a response failure report, to shoot an unarmed civilian, it should be in the report right up front in bold letters. What about the person who was placing pipe bombs at the Capitol and other locations around Washington, D.C.? Where is the uproar about catching this individual? They even have video of this person. Congress wanted to form a more detailed commission to learn all it could about the January 6th attack. It was voted down, but after reviewing this so called report, I think there should have been a commission formed. I mentioned a couple times in this video, and I'll say it once again. I am very suspect about this whole attack that took place. If I were a Democrat, I would want this news to drag on for as long as possible since it doesn't favor the Republicans. Republicans have to be asking themselves, was the protection preparations of the Capitol that bad, and if so, for how long? The recommendations sound like the Capitol Police have been in this state of preparation, or lack thereof, for quite some time. I am also concerned as to who was behind the planning of the attack. The far-right extremists just didn't seem to be the ones in charge, even though we are led to believe that. And I am not implying that it was the left-wing extremist groups planning and running the attack. So many unanswered questions that we will probably never get to hear the answers. As a side note, Arizona is starting to wrap up its review of the possible inconsistencies that occurred in Maricopa County during the 2020 election voting. Georgia is cleaning up its voting list. The Pennsylvania Congress was considering following the same process as Arizona, but some in the PA Congress are against it. Why? That is the question we have to keep asking. Why? On so many things taking place right now in our government. Not just what happened at the Capitol or with the questions about the 2020 voting process across America, but so many other decisions and actions happening right in front of us. And Congress is right in the middle of it all. All I can say is get out and vote. That is the best way for your voice to be heard. Then we keep an eye on those in charge making decisions affecting us, and don't be shy about voicing your concerns if you don't like what you are seeing. Well, thank you for watching. It means a lot to me. As you can probably tell, I was pretty wound up about this episode. Until my next video, please be safe.